Hi everyone, and welcome to TWF Dynamite or Might. Mike Lane, here with Tony Schiavone and with Montel Vertadius Porter. And today on Dynamite or Might, we're going to see Rhea Ripley, the Women's World Heavyweight Fighter, take on Faith, the former TWF Hard Middle Fighter. That's right. Here today on Dynamite or Might Mike, we're going to be seeing Rhea Ripley, the Women's World Heavyweight Fighter, take on Faith, the former two-time TWF Hard Middle Fighter and former two-time TWF Women's Heavyweight Fighter and former Women's World Heavyweight Fighter and former TWF Tag Team Fighter, Tony Schiavone says. Well, I can tell you one thing, Mike and Tony. The only thing you got to worry about today, that Faith got to worry about today, is how Rhea Ripley's going to beat her. You know, ever since Rhea Ripley became the Women's World Heavyweight Fighter, both in WWE and in the TWF, she has beat everyone that they had put in the ring. You know? So most likely, she's going to probably end up doing it again. Coming from Southern Land, Rhea Ripley. Well, you should all know by now, Rhea Ripley says, who I am and what I do. You should all know by now that I am one of the most overtaking women wrestlers in the yesteryear. And at the end of the day, you should all know that I have done things that very few women wrestlers have ever done or will do. I was a former WWE NXT UK Women's Heavyweight Fighter when I was on NXT UK. When I went to NXT, I became the WWE NXT Women's Heavyweight Fighter. And then, when I went to Raw, I became the WWE Raw Women's Heavyweight Fighter. You know, and then I also became the WWE Women's Tag Team Fighter. When I went to I never went to SmackDown. Let's be honest about that. I ended up winning the WWE SmackDown Women's Heavyweight. I became the WWE SmackDown Women's Heavyweight Fighter, which became the Women's World Heavyweight Fighter. So I've done a lot of things, and a very few folks can say. And I know they're going to bring up a lot of other women wrestlers who done shit, you know, who could, if they were. But let's be earnest about that. At the end of the day, you know, you like to throw names out like Nicole Bass. Oh yeah, she wrestled men, but she really didn't do that much, both in WWF or in ECW. You like to bring up Chyna. Everybody likes to bring up Chyna and all the fun stuff she did in her time in WWF, between 97 while to 2001 while, her one-off in TNAW, and then her one-off in NJPW. Oh yeah, she may have won the WWE Interlanded winnings 2 times and WWE Women's Heavyweight winnings, but at the end of the day, let's just face it, and she may have been the first woman to be in the Kingly Thunder 2 times, but then so was Beth Phoenix, you know, and so was Nia Jax. But I could have easily done that. And everybody likes to bring up Beth Phoenix and everything she did in her run in WWE. But at the end of her 2 runs in WWE. But at the end of the day, I could have done a lot. I could have done a lot more than she did. And we all saw what happened when Edge and her were fighting me in a Doomsday in WWE. So we all know at the end of the day, I could smoothly win. So anyway, who's gonna beat Alright, who's bloody hell, why can't this stay on my yeah. So anyway, let's just say who am I gonna bloody beat up here today? Well, Rhea Ripley has done a lot, you know, and she ran down many other women wrestlers who came before her about how she done a lot more than they ever did, Mike Lane said. Well, that might be true, Tony Schiavone said. She may have done a lot more than what they did. But if it wasn't for them, she wouldn't have been doing what she did if they didn't do it first. Tony Schiavone said, "You got that right," Mike Lane says. And right there we got Faith from Buffy the Bloodsucker Hunter, and also Angel. Yeah, Montel Vertadius Porter says, and Rhea Ripley is going to beat Faith. And Faith is going to become another beating of Rhea Ripley, or as she likes to call herself, Rhea Bloody Ripley. At least Bloody is her middle name or nickname or something. But anyway, Montel Vertadius Porter says, we're going to love this. So I just heard you run down women wrestlers like Nicole Bass and Chyna and Beth Phoenix and Asia. Run them down and say that you did more things than they ever did. Well, let's be earnest about that. See, Nicole Bass may have not done much in her run in WWF. In ECW, she was fighting women. God bless her soul. And Luna Vachon, she was wrestling men. And her time in WCCW, USWA, and also in ECW. You didn't know that, did you? Oh, and she fought Dwayne Gill and her To The Front in WWF, right? Then you ran down Chyna, God bless her soul too, who did a lot more, and if it wasn't for Chyna, you wouldn't be doing this shit you were doing. Yeah, Chyna was the only woman to ever win the WWE Interlanded Winnings. Yeah, you never did that. She was the first woman to be in the Kingly Thunder 2 times. Yeah, Beth Phoenix would go on to do it, and so would Nia Jax. But let's be earnest about that. If it wasn't for those women, you wouldn't be doing any of those things. You like to talk about all the shit you did when you were in NXT UK and NXT and Raw and SmackDown. You like to behave as if you were and then you run down Beth Phoenix and all the things that you think you did greater than her. Let's be earnest, Rhea Ripley. You are not the first or will be the last woman wrestler to ever break the glass top. You see, if it wasn't for Chyna and what she did, or what Beth Phoenix did, or what Luna Vachon or Nicole Bass did, or what Asia was doing, if it wasn't for Alundra Blades, oh yeah, you probably would have run her down too. But Alundra Blades was wrestling men, sadly, and her 2-diff run in WCW. But guess what? She's a former WWE light heavyweight fighter. So is Daphne, and so is Jacqueline Moore. You would have run them down too. I guess you're going to run down Bobcat. You're going to run down Bobcat and and Terry Runnels and Molly Holly and and Trish Stratus for being WWE hard middle fighters. Yeah, I suppose you're going to say that you're more greater than Tanina Snuka or Dana Brooke, or we'll say Nikki Cross and Maria Kanellis, and them all being and even Alicia Fox, all of them being former WWE 24/7 fighters. You seem to think you're so greater than any other woman wrestler who ever came along. You think you're greater than Nicole Bass and Chyna and Beth Phoenix. But you're not Rhea Ripley. You're not greater than any woman wrestler who has come before you or after you. And you never will be. Yeah, you can be in the Doomsday in WWE. You can have Dominic Mysterio, Dominic Unknown, Dominic, oh, I'm an inmate. I'm an outlaw. But he was only in Earldom lockup for not even a full day. You can have Finn Balor, you can have Damian Priest, Errol, Elder, Galna Boundary. And you can have Jordan Devlin McDonough if you want. But I'm going to take your winnings away from you. And you're not only going to lose the Women's World Heavyweight winnings in the Toy Wrestling Gathering. Raquel Gonzalez is going to win the Women's World Heavyweight winnings in World Wrestling Glee. You know what? Yeah. I'm going to beat you here in the Toy Wrestling Gathering the same way I'm going to beat Raquel Rodriguez or Raquel Gonzalez in World Wrestling Glee. Well, this is for the Fuck, stand up! Stand up! This is for the TWF. This is for the Women's World Heavyweight winnings. First, she is Faith, and she is the World Women's Heavyweight fighter, Rhea Ripley. While Rhea Ripley is the only woman wrestler who can say that she won every winnings that WWE had, but then very other ones could say the same thing too. And and Faith. Going right after Faith, taking down Rhea Ripley. A body slam on Rhea Ripley, Mike Lane says. A drop kick by Faith. Rhea Ripley has run down every other woman wrestler to say she's done more things than all of them. But I think that at the end of the day, she just thinks too highly of herself, Tony Schiavone said. Hey, when you're Rhea Ripley, you could do whatever you want. And who's going to say she's wrong? She's done a lot more things than all those other women wrestlers before her did. She's going to beat Faith anyway, Montel Rotadius Porter says. Rhea Ripley's got it down right now. Hunter on the Riptide. At least that's what they still call it, Mike Lane said. Even though she's a heel, they still call it the Riptide. Mike Lane says. Yes, Tony Schiavone said it was the Riptide, which let her become the WWE NXT Women's Heavyweight Fighter, WNXT UK Women's Heavyweight Fighter, the WWE Raw Heavyweight Fighter, the SmackDown Fighter, which became the Women's World Heavyweight winnings. 1, 2, 3. Ding ding ding. Here is your winner, and still the Women's World Heavyweight Fighter, Rhea Ripley. And Rhea Ripley is still the women's World Heavyweight Fighter here today on Dynamite or Might here in the Toy Wrestling Gathering, Mike Lane says. And Rhea Ripley is, going to probably tell everyone that I told you so, Mike Lane says. You got that right, Tony Schiavone says, Mike Lane. Rhea Ripley is still the Women's World Heavyweight Fighter here in the TWF. We don't know she'll still be the Women's World Heavyweight Fighter in WWE, come Sunday. Come Star Day. How long that's going to work for. I tell you one thing right now, Mike and Tony. Rhea Ripley is going to go on to probably do things that all those other women wrestlers did before her, but somehow she's going to even do something that they never did before. It's true, there was always going to be someone who did something first before someone else did. That's how life goes like. But you always end up doing something one step above of what someone else did before you. Montel Artadius Porter goes. And that's what Rhea Ripley's going to do. Anyway, Michael Cole is now going to be Michael's going to be talking with Faith. Come on. All right, Mike Lane, Tony Schiavone. I'm going to be talking with Faith here today on Dynamite or Might. Faith, your luck to become a two-time women's world heavyweight fighter didn't quite happen. No, Tony, no, Michael Cole, it didn't come out the way I wanted it to happen. You're right, Michael Cole. I went in there thinking I was going to beat Rhea Ripley, and then I was going to become the two-time women's world heavyweight fighter. But I guess that didn't happen. But hey, look. If you think that's going to make me a loser, think again. I'm going to go and win back the TWF hard middle winnings. And I don't see Rhea Ripley going for that, do I? No, we don't see Rhea Ripley going for any of those winnings. So anyway, Michael, the thing is, I'm going to win back my TWF hard middle winnings, winnings that Rhea Ripley, even though she's so big and so bad, she never went for. You know? And I'll win that back. And then when Rhea Ripley loses the women's world heavyweight winnings to whoever that women wrestler or women fighter or women overstar will be, I will laugh. And then she can go back home to the southern land and sob to her kin and friends about how she lost not only the women heavyweight winnings in TWF, but the women winnings in WWE too, and how she should have, and how being a bully and a creep in the heel at the end of the day now she's a loser, and being a bully creep in the heel didn't help her out. Being a bully creep in the heel didn't make her be unbeatable or unstoppable or unyieldable. Well, only time will tell if Rhea Ripley loses the women world heavyweight winnings in TWF or in WWE. But good luck, Faith. I'm sorry you didn't win the women's world heavyweight winnings, but I hope that you win back the TWF hard middle winnings. Well, thank you, Michael. I sure hope I do. Well, that's my talk with Faith. Back to you, Mike Lane and Tony Schiavone. Well, thank you, Michael Cole, for talking with Faith here today on Dynamite or Might. And it is all the time we got here for Dynamite or Might. I, Mike Lane, Tony Schiavone, and Montel Artadius Porter. We hope you like Dynamite or Might, and we'll see you tomorrow for Impact on XSTV or Smash and Inside FS.